Okay, so continuing on, so after normalization, we have this thing called WebKits. Now, I kind of touched on those at the beginning of the chapter. And what we have is these things that are specific to each browser. And so Safari has a -WebKit, Firefox has .moz, which is short for Mozilla, Internet Explorer has MS, short for Microsoft, and -O is for Opera. And so kind of getting back to that original, shoot, if I can find it, I think I closed it, but it was the very first example. And if I open up the style sheet, again, this is where we see the specific WebKits for each of the browsers. So these two lines are specifically for Firefox. These two lines are specifically for Safari. Here's Mozilla again, Firefox. Here is Safari. Oh, here is Opera. And here's MS. This is just for IE. Notice that it basically has in parentheses IE 10 or greater. This will not work for IE 9. So that is a background color, and it's the gradient. So here is the image for the pattern, and notice it's for Firefox. I believe it works for everything but IE 9. I think we didn't see it in IE 9, but it basically kind of goes from there. So here is in color, and again, this is for IE 6 through 9. So so again, I'm not expecting you to know how to do all this, but you do now know how to read what the WebKit is for. So so we can see that, again, it's talking about the background image, and we know what each one of those guys is for. Now, one thing you can do, it says for one CSS feature in our text shadow example, 5 additional lines of code were needed to support the browser. If we need to add additional lines of code for each browser, for each new CSS feature, the lines of the code we generate would quickly get out of control. Web developer Leah Verreau realized the vendor prefixes situation and developed a piece of JavaScript called prefix free. And you can actually go here to this prefix free and download this particular item, and it will do that, just that. It's a piece of JavaScript that will then go ahead and determine what browser you're using and put in the appropriate code. So it says process every style sheet and link, process elements with the style attribute, takes care of new link or style elements, lets jQuery method get and basically set some different prefixes. Check this page's style sheet, so you click that, and there it is. So there is the style sheet. Pretty lengthy because it has to cover a lot of different things. A lot of different WebKits are basically involved there. So you can also visit test drive page, type any code you want, and check how it would get prefixed with the current browser. So you can actually go there as well, plug some HTML code in there and see how this particular prefix free would basically work. So by downloading this file and placing the prefix-free JavaScript file in the head element of your web page, the vendor prefixes are automatically applied to the user's browsers if they need them. Okay? So you just come here. So it looks like they got some different yeah, so I just CSS variables. So here is, I'd probably just get this guy right here, so I'd start with him. So save the link as And then I can go into or you know what, better yet, let's do this. Let me just go into here and do a right click on this guy and open with Notepad, and I'm going to go ahead and let me open that file up. It's prefix, there it is. Open with Notepad and grab this guy. Open it with something else. No, it's not going to work. I guess I'll want a Notepad. And then let me go ahead and put it. I always need to put it right before the end of the head tag. You know, it's not really pretty, but it'll work. Let me do a save. And then let me reopen it. Wrong chapter. And oh, yeah, I didn't like that script. Hold on. Okay, so here's what I've done. I've put the JavaScript file that I downloaded in the same place as my index and my style sheet. I'm going to go back into edit on that HTML file. I'm going to take all of this stuff out. And instead, I'm going to basically do this instead. So what I've done is I put a script and I said where the source is going to be. I told it it's going to be in this file, which is basically in the same place we are. So we'll go ahead and include that JavaScript file into this HTML. That's probably the best way to do it anyways. That way there you don't have your code all jumbled up with a bunch of other code. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to then rerun it. And there it is. So now I've actually included that JavaScript file, and again, if any specific stuff that is needed for a specific browser, that JavaScript will automatically bring it in, and now it's not going to work 100% of the time. It's going to work most all of the time, so just realize that as well. So probably not a bad thing to put in your code to make sure that, because in my line of work, whenever we write a new web page or we make an update to a web page, one of the things our testers have to do is test it in Safari and Internet Explorer, 3 different versions, Chrome, Opera, and Firefox. So we got to make sure it works everywhere, because all of our folks who use our website commercially, we want to make sure that they have access to everything that they need to in order to basically stay in the good rapport with our customers. If not, they're going to move on to some other company. So very important that our pages work and always work. Another thing we'll need to do as well is make sure that our web page is up to par. What do I mean by that? Well, WC3 has a verifier. You can go to their website and actually plug in your URL, and it will come up and say whether it is good or not good, or what features basically are not. Your page might work just fine, but they're saying that we've got standards. We want to make sure that you stay in our standards. So if your website comes up wrong, then we want to make sure that you try to fix those to stay up to standard. So what you can do is go to this link. It's validator.w3.org unicorn, and I can plug in, let's see, let me grab my website here, and I'm going to throw it over here, and I go ahead and click check, and voila, it says this document has not passed the test. No character encoding declared at document level. So on there they're telling us that no document type declaration implying, which I do have that, but I use PHP, which is a coding language, so it probably has a problem there. Document type does not have an element body here. Okay, so probably some things I need to make sure that my PHP code is working hand in hand with the HTML so that this particular website sees it. So yeah. So again, as you can see, really slick. It not only tells you what things are not up to par, but how to fix them as well and make them up to par. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, so this one here showed, yeah, it passed, and it had some things that, yep. And what you can do is actually take this code and place on your page to say, yes, mine checks out. There's another one called, another valuable tool is Tidy. And if you go to Tidy, what you can do is, again, plug in your URL here. Let's see what it says. You got to plug in some file. I was having problems with this earlier. This tool actually fixes badly formed markup. It adds closing tags, changes mismatch tags, adds quotes to attribute values, and properly nests tags that are not nested. Standalone Tidy applications are available for various platforms, and there are online versions as well. HTML Tidy also comes with many HTML and text editors. So, I don't know what file it says. HTML file. So let me so apparently it does not like my doc type up here. Yeah. Anyways, it's another great website to go through and make sure that your stuff is up to par. Another great place to go is this thing called Browser Stack. But again, this costs money. So what I've done is I've actually put out there a link to another one that is free. And it's called browsershots.org. Is that it? Browser Stack, right? This is called Browser Stack. What I have is this thing called Browser Shot, and it does the same thing. You plug in your website. Now notice, look at this. Go, whoa. It will go ahead and show how it looks in all of these different versions of all the different windows. And when you click on it, again, it takes a few minutes. It says that we're already 151 screenshot requests for this website today. Please create another. You go, okay. So I've already used my quota today. But anyways, so it'll actually bring up a lot of different screenshots that you can go and look at to see how it looked in all of these different versions of each one of those browsers. Wow. That's pretty powerful. So it allows us to make sure that our site is going to... Now, I would probably uncheck a lot of these and just check the ones that are most current is probably the best way to do that. But anyways, another great place to go to make sure that everything looks great everywhere it needs to basically be. Yeah. So, Chapter 4, a great place to go, or a nice chapter to say, hey, how is our stuff going to look everywhere? We need to make sure that it works here, there, and everywhere. So we'll see you at the next chapter.